Dear students, welcome back. Now we are going to start a new chapter, that is posture. So normally in common terms, as we all know that posture means the pose of a person. So here it means the position in which someone holds the body when the person may be in standing or sitting, okay, in walking. Everything comes under the posture, or a pose given by that person will comes this posture. And also we have studied the basic elements of individual joint structures and associated muscles and their function we have studied in the previous chapters. And also we have studied the biomechanics and the knowledge of muscle physiology. Also we have applied to various body segments for the purpose of gaining an understanding of a joint and muscle function. So in this chapter we are going to focus on discovering how the various body structures are integrated. All the structures we have studied, the individual joints separately, upper limb like shoulder, elbow, wrist and vertebral column, and as well as we have studied this hip joint, knee joint, ankle joint separately. Now in this chapter we are going to integrate all these body structures, okay, for how the posture is maintained. Okay, how all these body segments are going to function to maintain a perfect posture. Okay, so and in this chapter we are going to discover how these various body structures are integrated into a system of levers that permit effective and efficient functioning of the body as a whole. Okay, and knowledge of individual joint and muscle structure and function is used as the basis for determining how each structure contributes to stability of the body in posture. So this posture is of actually two types. One is static posture and dynamic posture. And in static postures, the body and its segments are aligned and maintained in certain positions. Examples like examples for static postures, which include standing, okay, and lying, okay, and then sitting. So all these comes under static posture. When you come for this dynamic postures, which refers to postures in which the body and its segments are moving, okay, that is like walking and running, okay, and also jumping, okay, and also throwing and lifting also comes under this dynamic posture. Okay, yes. So this chapter is mainly focused in static posture, and we are going to study this dynamic posture in the next chapter, that is gait. Okay, so the study of any particular posture includes kinetic and kinematic analysis of all the segments in the kinematic chain. Humans have the ability to arrange and rearrange body segments to form a large variety of postures such as bilateral and single leg erect standing, sitting, lying down and kneeling. Okay, so many living other creatures are also capable of assuming different postures, but maintenance of erect bipedal stance is only unique for humans. Okay, the erect posture allows persons to use their upper extremities for doing some performing large and small motor acts, okay, with the help of this upper limbs because of this bipedal stance. Okay, and then the erect posture allows persons use their upper extremities for large and small motor tasks, and when crutches and cranes or other assistive devices must be used to maintain static erect postures. So some of the crutches are used to maintain to stand erect posture, okay, which is also an important human attribute is lost. We can use such kind of assistive devices. Okay, so this erect bipedal stance gives us freedom of the upper extremities, but in comparison with the quadrupedal posture, erect stance has some certain disadvantages. So that means during erect bipedal stance, which increases the work of the heart, okay, and also places increased stress on the vertebral column, and pelvis also, and lower extremities. So during bipedal stand, so the stresses are going to increase in the vertebral column, pelvis and lower extremities, which reduces the stability. Whereas in the quadruped posture, the body weight is distributed between the upper as well as the lower extremities. In human stance, the body weight is distributed only between the two lower extremities. So the entire body weight is distributed between these two lower extremities. So here, if you see the base of support in the human species, it is defined as an area bounded posteriorly. So an area bounded posteriorly by the tips of the heels and anteriorly by a line joining the tips of toes, which is considerably smaller than the quadruped or quadrupedal base. Here you can see, so the quadrupedal base is more when compared to the bipedal base. The human center of gravity, normally the human center of gravity is located, okay, approximately at the level of second sacral vertebrae, okay, and it is this is relatively distance from the base of support, and the COG is very far from the base of support. So despite the instability caused by the small base of support and a high COG, maintaining a static erect posture, which requires very little energy expenditure in the form of muscle contraction. So the bones, joints, ligaments are able to provide the major torques needed to counteract the gravity and frequent changes in body position and assist in promoting circulatory return. So that means for erect standing position in humans, the COG commonly located at the level of second sacral vertebra, which is far away from the base of support, despite of the instability caused by the small base of support and high COG. Maintaining a static posture requires a very little expenditure in the form of muscle contraction to counteract the forces of the gravitation. Okay, not only this muscle contraction, the bones, joints and ligaments are able to provide the major torques which needed to counteract gravity. Okay, and the frequent changes in the body position assist in promoting circulatory return. Okay, so this is about the types of posture, that is static and dynamic posture, and the base of support in quadruped as well as with that of humans. If you see the posture control, the ability to attain and maintain the erect posture is one of the human motor control system function. Okay, so the postural control, which can be either static or dynamic, refers to a person's ability to maintain the stability of the body and body segments in response to forces that threaten to disturb the body's structural equilibrium. Okay, static postural control involves maintenance of a particular posture against gravity, while dynamic postural control involves maintenance of stability during the movements of the body or body segments and changes in the supporting surface. The pattern and timing of muscle activities that are used by individuals in response to changes that affect the static equilibrium are currently, now they are still investigating. Okay, yes. So how this maintenance or the control of posture will depends on the integrity of the CNS, central nervous system, the visual system, the vestibular system, okay, and the musculoskeletal system, and inputs from the receptors which are located around the joints and in the tendons and ligaments. So for a proper maintenance or control of posture, it requires the coordination of all these structures in the body. What are they? One is the central nervous system, visual system, vestibular system, musculoskeletal system, and the receptors which are located around the joints and in tendons and ligaments. The main function of the CNS is the capable of receiving and processing information from all the systems and must be able to interpret information from the receptors regarding the position of the body in space. So the CNS must be able to respond to all of this input with appropriate output to maintain the equilibrium of the body. Then the joints in the musculoskeletal system must have a range of motion. So if the joints will not have any specific kind of range of motion, even though the CNS is receiving information and giving processing and all, if the joint is not moving, then there is no use. Okay, like that. So the joints in the musculoskeletal system must have a range of motion that is adequate for specific tasks, and the muscles must be able to respond with appropriate speed and force. When the inputs are altered or absent, what is going to happen? So such as when the person is in sleeping position, and also such as in the absence of normal gravitational force in weightless conditions during space flight, or when someone has decreased sensation in the lower extremities, the control system must respond to incomplete or distorted data, and thus person's posture may be altered. Okay, so these are the things when the inputs are altered, then the posture of that person is also going to be altered. Okay. Next, so for such kind of changes which are occurring if the inputs are absent, or any changes in the external environment, so they have done a study how the posture is going to change, and they have calculated by monitoring of muscular activity patterns through EMG and determinations of muscle peak study postural responses during perturbations of upright postural stability. What do you mean by perturbation? So it is a sudden change in conditions that displaces the body posture, away from the equilibrium. So this perturbation can be sensory or mechanical. A sensory perturbation might be caused by altering visual input, such as might occur when person's eyes are covered unexpectedly. Then the change of the posture is going to take place. And then mechanical perturbations or the displacements that involve direct changes in the relationship of the body's COG and the base of support. These displacements may be caused by movements of either body segments or the entire body. Even breathing can displace the center of mass. Okay. Perturbations in standing that results from respiratory movements of the rib cage are counterbalanced by the movements of the trunk and the lower limbs. Okay. So this one is determined by EMG. Muscle activity in the trunk and hip muscles provides a counterbalance to motion of the rib cage. So they have used one method for studying how people respond to naturally occurring perturbations is to produce mechanical perturbations experimentally by placing subjects on a movable platform. Okay, so what is going to happen if those persons are kept in movable platform? Okay. So for this study, so they have monitoring the muscle activity patterns through EMG. They have also taken this response times and determinations of muscle peak torque and power outputs are used to study postural responses during horizontal perturbations of upright postural stability. So that for that they have kept the person on a movable platform. Here what happens, the platform can be moved forward or backward or from side to side. Some platforms can be tipped and the velocity can be varied. So here in this pic the platform is moving forward. Okay, and then here's afterwards the postural responses have been found to be task specific and which are going to vary with size of the supporting surface. So it also depends on the size of the supporting surface, direction of motion of the supporting surface, okay, and which may be anterior, posterior or medial lateral, location of perturbing force, that is movements of the supporting surfaces or push or pull on the part of the body, and the magnitude of the applied force, how much a magnitude of force is applied for this moving platform, and initial posture at the time of perturbation and velocity of perturbation. So they have observed all these things. As a result of these studies, they have identified 3 patterns of muscle activities occurring in response to perturbations of standing posture in the sagittal plane. Here we can see one is the ankle, at the ankle, and next one is the hip. They have seen some changes in the hip and ankle, and also stepping patterns. So that means the person will come front and keep one step forward or one step backward. So like that, 3 patterns they have observed when a person is placed on a moving platform. So here we can see here the ankle patterns consist of discrete bursts of muscle activity on either the anterior or posterior aspects of the body that occurs in a distal to proximal pattern in response to forward and backward movements of the supporting platform. Here we can see this is the forward motion of the platform in A pic, moves the feet anterior to the body's COG. Okay, so what happens here? Forward motion of the platform moves the feet anterior to the body's COG. That means feet is present anterior to the COG. Okay, so this is the initial posture. After movement, there is a swaying back of the body, upper body. Then what will happen? So here the COG will fall behind the foot. That is the thing happened in forward movement of the platform. And in response to the disturbance of postural stability, bursts of muscle activity occur in the ankle dorsiflexors, hip flexors, and also abdominal muscles and neck flexors. Okay, the tibialis anterior contributes to the restoration of the stability by pulling the tibia anteriorly. Okay, and hence the body forward so that the line of gravity LOG remains within the base of support. So by these muscle actions helps still the LOG is falling in the base of support after these actions. And then backward movement of the platform. So here if you can see in this forward movement, so at the initial stage the body will sway back. Okay, next the muscle strategies are going to work, which makes the person again to kept in normal and make the LOG within the base of support. Now we will see the another pattern, that is if the platform is having a backward movement. Here we can see the platform is having a backward movement, then the feet is present posterior to the LOG. Okay, yes, and bursts of the activity of the plantar flexors, so which are present on the posterior aspect, as well as the hip extensors and trunk extensors and neck extensors are used here to restore the position. And again the COG is still present in the base of support. Okay, the hip pattern of muscle activities consists of discrete bursts of muscle activity on the side of the body opposite to the ankle pattern in a proximal to distal pattern activation. And another type of pattern we can see, that is the stepping pattern. So the stepping pattern is used to prevent a loss of equilibrium when the limits of stability have been exceeded and ankle and hip patterns of muscle activity are insufficient to bring and maintain the LOG over the base of support. So here still there is a backward movement of this platform we can find here. So when this stepping pattern is going to occur means, okay, so the person is having an exceeded, we can see an exceeded ankle and hip patterns of muscle activity or insufficient. Okay, so that means here which one is exceeded? The limits of stability has been not under control. That means it is going to exceed. Not under control means what happens? The ankle and hip patterns of the muscle activities are insufficient to bring and maintain the LOG over the base of support. So then what happens? They used to step forward. So that means once the person makes, so here the person is falling like this, so then the COG is falling here. This then what happens? So and the activities of all hip and plantar flexors are not sufficient, so then there may be a chance of falling forward. So to prevent this, the person used one leg and he kept one step forward. So then what happens to the base of support? The base of support increases and new COG falls within this base of support. So this is called as stepping pattern, which is used to prevent a loss of equilibrium when the limits of stability have been exceeded and ankle and hip patterns of muscle activity are insufficient to bring and maintain the LOG over the base of support. Okay, so these are the different patterns which are which have been studied on a moving platform. In the next session, we are going to discuss about what are the kinetics and kinematics of posture. Thank you.